Hello class, this is Mr. Hart, and in this podcast we want to start our unit on circle geometry, and we're going to spend a lot of time finding different values in a circle, things like circumference and area. But before we can start with that, we want to know the different parts of a circle so that we can identify them when we're doing different problems. Okay, so let's say we have a circle. We are going to look at the circle and define it by its center point. Every circle is going to have a point at the center, and it will have a letter associated with it. Okay, so in this case, for example, the letter A would be the name of this circle, so we'd call this circle A, okay, because that's the center point. All right, so there's some different parts we want to be able to label. If we have a line that goes from the center point to the outside of the circle, okay, or the edge of the circle, we give that a special name. It's called the radius of the circle. Okay, so anytime you see that line going from the center to the outside, we call that a radius. Okay, you've probably seen that before in math class. There's another line that you've probably seen before where it's twice the radius, or it goes through the center but to the other side as well. Okay, so if it goes through the center and it hits two edges of the circle, then we call that a diameter. So that diameter is any line that goes through the center and hits both edges of the circle. Okay, so you probably have seen those two in math class. Let's look at some other ones that you may not be familiar with. So let's say we have a line that goes from one edge of the circle to the other edge of the circle, but it doesn't necessarily go through the center point, like the diameter. Okay, if that's the case, we will call these a chord. So diameters are also considered chords because they go from one edge to the other, but diameters always go through the center. A chord doesn't have to go through the center. It just has to hit both edges of the circle. So let's say now that we have a line, a full line, not just a segment, but a full line that goes through the circle and hits at 2 points. So it's kind of like a chord, but it's a full line, not just a segment. Okay, if that's the case, we call this a secant line. So again, the secant line and the chord are very similar because they hit two edges of the circle, but the secant line is a full line that goes on forever, whereas the chord is just a segment. Okay, let's look at two other terms that we want to know. So last of all, let's say we have a line that hits just 1 point of that circle. Okay, it doesn't intersect at 2 points, it's just barely touching that circle at one line. Okay, we're going to call that a tangent line. A tangent line is similar to a secant line, but the tangent line only hits at 1 point, the secant line hits at 2 points. Okay? That point where the tangent line is going to hit that circle, where it's barely touching the circle, is called the point of tangency. So right here, right on that edge, is called the point of tangency. So every tangent line has exactly 1 point that it's going to intersect at. So that's all the terms that we want to know. So you want to make sure that you understand what a radius is, what a diameter is, what a chord is, what a secant line is, what a tangent line is, and what the point of tangency is. Okay? We're going to use those terms as we talk about circles, so you want to just make sure you understand what they mean. Okay? Hopefully that all makes sense. Let me know if you have any questions, and thank you for watching.